Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a new segment of Erfon's Earth, where today we will be dissecting a topic we all love, human geography. Let's get into it. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Spatial Thinking, because location isn't just a vibe, it's a science. Unit 1 covers how geographers think. Scales, patterns, models, tools like GIS, and projections that still have Greenland going through her delusional era. Let's bring out the guest who just discovered map bias and is now going through a cartographic crisis.
I've been betrayed. I thought Greenland was massive, but it's basically just Iceland with a PR team.
You've fallen victim to the Mercator projection. It distorts land size near the poles to preserve direction. It's great for sailors, not great for someone with eyes.
So this is propaganda? Cartographic colonialism?
That's one way to put it. All maps reflect bias. That's why geographers use multiple map projections. Robinson, Good, Gall, Peters, each with strengths and trade-offs.
So no map is perfect?
Exactly. All maps are just selective representations of space. They simplify complex realities, just like your Tinder profile.
Low blow, dude. But fair.
We also use GIS to digitally layer information like population, elevation, and even areas where you're most likely to trip over a curb.
And what about that thing with the absolute and relative location?
You're learning. Absolute location, ladies and gentlemen, are the exact coordinates. Relative location is finding a location based off of a different area. It's like saying Starbucks is across the road from your terrible tasting coffee.
So if I say my ex lives too close for comfort, is that relative location?
That's also a mental map. It's also how you perceive space. Not always accurate, but it's very real to you.
So you're basically telling me that geography is not just about where, but also why it's there?
Boom! That's the essence of the whole class, ladies and gentlemen. Spatial thinking is about patterns and processes, not just places.
I'm emotionally overwhelmed by physical geography.
That, my friends, is AP Human Geography's Unit 1. Remember, maps aren't just projections, they're tools. Next up, a guy who thinks every breakup he's ever been through is a push factor. Welcome back to another segment of Erfon's Earth, where we're the only show on planet Earth, get it, to really talk about map projections and population dynamics in this segment, right after we just finished overthinking about why we never got that text back. Anyways, tonight's theme, population and migration. Because where we are and where you move says a lot about society, and sometimes about your dating history. Let's get into it. Unit 2 covers how populations grow, move, change. We're talking about demographic transitions, population pyramids, migration flows.
Everybody just keeps leaving. First my roommate, then my dog, and then my barber. Is it just me?
No, it's just a combination of push and pull factors. Maybe economic, maybe a little emotional.
I knew it. I'm a repelling force.
Well, I mean, push factors are the negatives that drive people away, whether it be conflict, unemployment, natural disasters. But pull factors are the things that drive someone somewhere else, whether it be job opportunities, social opportunities, a new opening at Chick-fil-A.
Okay, so you're saying my ex moved to Austin for better opportunities?
That's a voluntary migration, probably internal, from one region to another. Or maybe Rust Belt to the Sun Belt, something pretty important and major in the US.
And what if it's forced?
That's forced migration, whether it be refugees leaving war and persecution, or gentrification that pushes old folks out of urban neighborhoods.
So is there a model that explains this chaos?
Absolutely. Ravenstein's law of migration states that most migrants move short distances, and when they go far, they go to cities. This is primarily familiar in young adults. Sound familiar? That's called urbanization, ladies and gentlemen. People moving from rural to urban areas. Plus, global trends like transnational migration, remittances, and brain drain really shape entire economies.
Hold up, what's a population pyramid again?
Graph showing the age and sex demographics of a population. If it looks like a Christmas tree, high birth rate, high death rate, that's a stage 2 of the demographic transition model. If it's more like a rectangle, low birth and death rates,
So which one's America?
that's stage 4 or 5. More people aging, fewer kids. Hence the social security crisis and a bunch of other problems we got going on in the US.
Wow, that's really specific.
Welcome to AP Human Geo, baby, where we track your timeline and your trauma. Coming up, a guy that thinks K-pop is just a cultural hearth and globalization is his entire personality. Stay tuned. Unit 3 dives into culture, beliefs, practices, religion, everything that makes a person what they are, even those niche Spotify playlists. Well, let's bring out our guest, who swears he's basically Korean now. Whatever that means.
Annyeong King. I'm not the same ever since I listened to Dynamite. I eat kimchi, stream K-dramas, listen to K-pop whenever I can, and my Duolingo streak is 83 days strong.
Whoa, that is not just a personality shift. That's stimulus diffusion.
No, it's love.
It's when an idea spreads, but the specific form changes. You adopted elements of Korean culture, but reinterpreted them. Globalization at its finest.
So I'm part of a global village now?
You're living in it. But don't forget, folk culture is local, slow to change, and rooted in tradition. Popular culture, like what you're doing, is fast, widespread, and often driven by media and consumerism, in which people like him are under the chokehold of.
Wait, so I'm colonizing culture?
Whoa, slow down, Columbus. Cultural diffusion isn't really a bad thing. It just matters on whether it's appropriation or appreciation. That's where we get into divergent and convergence.
So culture can spread but also resist spreading?
Exactly, that's cultural divergence. When groups hold on to traditional cultural practices despite globalization, like the Amish not using tech, or me performing my secret hair routine rituals.
Okay, but explain hearths. Where does a culture even start?
A cultural hearth is the origin of the trait, like Islam in Arabia, or Buddhism in India, or, people being cool from my house. It's all where it came from. Or brain rot from anybody who's a member of class of 27 or lower.
So when I use Gen Z slang, that's like using diffusion in real time?
Yeah, exactly. And when languages and cultures that are different clash in one space, that's just a cultural landscape in tension at its finest. Look at you adopting AP vocab.
And my tattoo that says fire breath in Korean?
That's permanent relocation at work. Hope they spelled it right.
I googled it.
Then it most likely probably says microwave. Culture is dynamic. It spreads, it changes, it sometimes even loses meaning along the way. Coming up, a guy that claims independence from his family and who builds a sovereign room who comes to be invaded by his mother's vacuum. Unit 4 is all about states, nations, sovereignty, and whether or not it's a good idea to really just draw lines wherever you want. And a hint, it's not. Let's bring them out.
I succeeded. I got borders, I got a currency, I got a national anthem. It's just elevator music.
Okay, but does anyone recognize you?
My dog does.
That's not a sovereignty. Recognition matters, because without it, you're just a sad person with a made-up flag and duct tape borders.
But I made a map.
Well, you just created a de facto state. Congratulations. Does your mom vacuum through it?
Every morning. It's an invasion.
Welcome to geopolitics. You're a shadow belt, contested territory that is also always occupied with conflict and violated, just like the colonial boundaries in Africa.
I feel so seen.
Arbitrary borders cause centrifugal forces, stuff that divides.
So, what unites people?
Centripetal forces, things that unite people, Things like language, pizza, national pride, or Rebecca Black.
I want independence.
Then you better get international recognition, because when people like me don't recognize you, that is a problem. Politics isn't just presidents or wars, it's identity, knowing and acknowledging people. Next up, a man who planted lettuce in a parking lot and then just recently discovered the von Thunen model. Unit 5 covers agriculture, from subsistence farming to agribusiness. And yes, why your avocados cost $7.
I planted lettuce on asphalt. Nothing grew except judgment.
You're in the wilderness zone, buddy. That's the least profitable area for the von Thunen model.
I thought it was urban gardening.
Urban, yes. Gardening, not so much.
So where should I have planted, huh, genius?
Closer to the city center. Intensive farming goes closer to cities and markets. Stuff that spoils fast, like milk or leafy greens.
So agriculture is spatial?
Exactly. You see, it's all about land cost, proximity, these multiple factors that go into your placement. Also, your parking lot kind of lacked arable land.
Well, what about agribusiness?
Massive, mechanized farms feeding global supply chains. You're quite not there yet with your 2-seed packets and vibes of sunshine, whatever.
I feel exploited.
Now you understand the green revolution. Tech improved yields, but widens the gap between rich and poor farmers. From terrace farming to tractors, ladies and gentlemen. Agriculture shapes landscapes and my grocery bills. Next up, a man that thinks city planning is Sim City with extra zoning laws. Tune in. Unit 6, ladies and gentlemen, is all about urban geography. How cities form, grow, and sometimes kick out the people who built them.
See, I just moved into a revitalized neighborhood, some sort of renewal. My rent doubled too. Is this urban renewal?
Yes, also known as gentrification. Wealthy people moving in, long-term people moving out.
You're telling me cities have patterns?
Yep, according to the concentric zone model, poorer residents are typically living closer to industrialized areas. Sector model shows multiple wedges of development, multiple nuclei too, cities with many centers, not just downtown.
Kinda sounds like a mall.
Kinda, but with zoning laws and traffic.
Well, what about edge cities?
Suburban areas with their own business districts. Think, a city's little city trying to be independent.
And mega cities?
Over 10 million people. Tons of growth, often in periphery countries. Think Tokyo, Lagos, Los Angeles.
So cities are complex ecosystems, huh?
Exactly, shaped by economic opportunities, social inequality, and your need to be near 5 different cafes wherever you live. Urban land use isn't random, ladies and gentlemen. It's structured chaos. Up next, a man who just realized that his shoes were made in a semi-periphery country, and now is going down a rabbit hole. Welcome back to Erfan's Earth. Our next guest just learned what GDP means, and now he's against the people that are making the most of it. Unit 7 is all about labor forces, economies, and how various ones exploit entire labor forces just to make your $40 hoodie.
So you mean to tell me that this little tag that I have at the back here, that I'm wearing exploitation?
That's outsourcing, which is pretty common in semi-periphery countries. Cheap labor, low regulation, high output.
Well, I feel guilty now.
Welcome to Wallerstein's world system theory. Core exploits periphery, semi-periphery does both.
So what's GDP?
Gross domestic product, the value of all final goods and services produced within a country.
What's development then?
It's not just money. It can also be HDI, also known as a Human Development Index. This includes life expectancy, education, income, and so forth.
Well, how do countries get richer?
With the many models that we have today, like raw-style stages of economic growth, from traditional farming to high-tech.
And how do they stay poor?
Dependency theory. Global systems keep some countries reliant on others, whether we like to believe it or not. Think of it like economic quicksand, if you will.
So my sweater is a symbol of inequality?
And fashion. Development is more than just factories. It's systems, forces, people. But that's it for Erfan's Earth, for where the world isn't flat, but the jokes are. Thank you so much for tuning in to Erfan's Earth, late night geography. The only place on Earth where geography meets utter chaos. We've laughed, we've cried, we've said Von Thunen one too many times, if I'm pronouncing that right. But whether you're a refugee displaced by the concentric zone model or someone emotionally unstable as a result of GDP per capita, please remember this. Geography isn't just about where places are. It's about why it matters. Thank you.